What's up? This is Lucky Loco with the Lucky Loco Show. I appreciate you tapping in today. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe. If not, hey, leave a comment. Tell me what's up. Well, anyways, I was telling a story about the hustle game and how much I regret doing that and how I'll never ever go back to hustling again. I'm broke down, busted, but that's okay. I'm home, I'm free with my family, friends, and for anybody that wants to know. Well, let me get into the hustle game. So I was talking about how we were taking over spots and just doing it. So as time goes on, I'm making a name for myself in the streets, and as everybody knows, everybody starts dropping dimes on you, competition or whoever wants you out the mix. So I'm out here hustling, doing my thing, and start getting investigated. But I start catching on too. So I wasn't leaving any kind of work in the place. I was, a little bit, but I wasn't leaving work where I was hustling out of like a whole bunch. So and I didn't let anybody know where I live, and so I start getting harassed. Well, not harassed. They're just doing their job. I start hustling, and I was talking about all the good times going to. Well, not even all the good times. We're making money doing what we do. The California crew got caught up, so I already made a bunch of enemies with them having my back. But everybody's gone. It's just me and a couple of the people I know. So I'm out here by myself. Like I said, found a Denver Connect, found a Springs Connect, and a Pueblo Connect. So I'm out here hustling, doing it, and all the spots and all this, all the spots are starting to get hot. I'm out in the nightclubs. I'm out doing my thing, and with that life sub, you start playing. What is that called? You start playing tag with Satan. You're out here running the streets. You're out here in and out of traffic. You're just risking your whole life. So I'm out here doing it, and I know what comes with the territory, okay? So we're all just, I find a crew, and we start doing it over again. And with that comes a lot of beef. So I'm out there doing it. I'm starting all kinds of beef. I just didn't care. I really didn't. I didn't care if I lived or died. Didn't care. I went to prison, and I knew I was going to go to prison. I knew I was going to get killed. So I'm out doing it, and with all the good stuff, and I don't even want to make it sound like I'm bragging. Such a horrible life to live, as I explained in my last video. So I'm out here doing it. I'm out here chilling, and I start meeting people. Okay, so I meet my baby's mom. She's just a friend at the time. She's telling me a story. We get to hang out, and we were friends for like 3-4 years before anything ever even happened. So I'm out there posted up, and she's got her baby daddy. She got a boyfriend. We used to hang out at this place in Pueblo called Jim's Bar, and I was in there hustling. Across the street was Caveman's and Northern Liquor Store, Northern Avenue. Jim's Bar was a little hole in the wall, but it was a comfortable place, and I definitely was known there. It was in the Bessemer area, and we start hustling, and we start, like I said, we're just a bunch of stupid kids doing the thing. And so I meet my baby's mom, uh, hanging out with their old man. I just one thing led to another, and my son. Okay, yeah. So all this stuff starts going on. I go to county jail a couple times. Um, Trying to explain how, like, we were best friends, and then we messed up and hooked up. We made our son, uh, but before that, didn't even know. Okay, so I would have quit, got caught in a big old sting. We all start going down. So I leave her with money, I leave her with this stuff, and she's trying to bond me out. So my bond's super high. They wouldn't take anything because it's cash and no property. And how did you make this money? And are you for flight risk? So I wouldn't get out. So she goes and gets me Joe Concelia, one of the top of the line lawyers back in the day. I don't know if he is now, but he was doing this. He was definitely, you get his attention whenever he came into the courtroom. So I'm caught up. I'm in jail, and it's I'm in there, and people, you get in there being the only northerner in the unit. People try checking you in, and I was getting in fights. So the fights come along, and this is a couple days before court, and I got a black eye. And the lawyer's mad, and we had a preliminary hearing, and I had a chongo. I had a big old tail on the back of my head, and he was just like, he's like, "Come on, man, I'm not stupid, and you're over here trying to get out. And, this isn't it." He's like, you come in with a black eye, you got a chongo. The judge isn't stupid, so I suggest you go ahead and cut that off, and try to do your hair normal. And I was like, all right, man. So he's like, don't shave your head, don't start acting like you're, you know, avoid who you are in this courtroom. So I believe they were before that they were like, okay, we're gonna give you 25 years, and I was like, dang. So that was with the public defenders. So I have enough money to get a lawyer, and they offer 12. So I'm like, okay. I was like, you know what? I already got like a year in. But while I was in there, go to the shoot for fighting a couple times actually, no more than a couple times. But yeah, I was in there getting it, and they were. Well, I go to the shoe and I get out, and my baby's mom's coming to visit, and then she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go to the doctor's office, and I'm late." And everyone's like banging on the window, like, "Oh, look," because you could see out of the Pueblo County Jail, and you see out the window, and I see her, and my homeboy Frankie, and they're both like, "Hey, what's up, babe?" And starts going, waving, like holding a baby. She's like, "You're gonna be a dad. You're gonna be a dad." And then I was super happy, but then I broke my heart because I already knew I was on my way to prison. So things go astray. She dips out on me, leaves me, just like goes against me. And it is what it is. I mean, 12 years, who's gonna wait, right? So I'm in there, and I'm on my way to prison. So I get to prison, and that's when I know it's the real deal. I get in there, DRDC. I'm in there for about maybe a month, and they figure out where they're gonna send me, and they send me over to what the hell was the place called? I have to remember it. They send me over to like this medium prison, and I'm in there. I'm an idiot still. I'm thinking it's like county jail, and I see this dude, Pachicha. I can't remember his first name, but he was involved in a robbery homicide that my friend committed, and I was like, he came in and he was just like, his uncle was like, "Hey man, you guys watch out for. I got my nephew coming. Gangs are after him. They made this big old lie on him." And while I was in county jail, there's this medical unit, like that's where they put like high profile like snitches. So they put him in the medical unit, and I used to always see him, and I was like, there ain't nothing. There's people in wheelchairs, crutches, and all this other stuff, and then there's him, and he's in there, and he's like, and I never talked to him because there's, like I said, there's no point of cell banging or being a cell soldier. So I was just like, all right, when I see dude, I'm gonna get him. So I get into the prison yard. I'm there for about maybe 5 months before he comes pulling up. He gets convicted, and he's introducing them, and he brings them into the unit, and he's introducing them to everybody. And he was just like, "Oh, hey, what's this is the homeboy." And I shook his hand and said, "Where do I know you from, bro?" He's like, "Oh, I don't know." I was like, "You from Pueblo?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Oh, I know you, bro. You're the one in that PC unit the whole like for like 3, 4, 5 years." And he's like, "Oh yeah, yeah, yeah." And then I was like, "Yeah, you're the one who told on the homeboy Smiley. You know, he's a northerner from out of California, but Smiley's a whole different trip." Um, so he's just like, he's like, "Yeah, yeah, that's him." So I'm just like, okay, well, if I'm not gonna smash on him now, I'm gonna extort him. I'm thinking it's like county jail, man. You know, people are always talking about like, oh, prison's this, prison's that, and this happens and that happens, and then I was like, you know what, I'm extort him. So I try that, drops a kite. We all go to the shoe, and it was so I'm in the shoe, I'm in there, and it was I see him come in because he got checked in because he was like, all these people were like, hey man, you homeboy was trying to press on you, you didn't do nothing, you dime him out. So he ends up in the shoe too, and they send him out to a different prison. And then he was just like, so I'm sitting in there, and this is actually how I started liking Kit Carson. That's what it was, Kit Carson Prison. It's like a medium, and it's a private prison, and it's like way out there by Kansas, and all that came in was country music, the radio station. So all I had was a little radio, and I'm listening to music, and all that came in was country, and I hated it. I was in there for like maybe 6 months listening to this. Then I finally, after like about the fifth month, I started listening to the lyrics. I'm like, damn, this is pretty good. Started knowing the songs, and you know, and like, okay, I'll find out. They're like, we're shipping you out to a different prison. I was like, man, I just started meeting all the homeboys and stuff, and I get to one of the at that time was like one of the worst prisons was Buena Vista, the level 4 yard, and so I get there. It's quiet. You can see the windows, and the open cells, and everybody knows about this place. I knew about it before I went there. So I already knew the Serenios have like a stronghold on that place, in which they did, and they probably still do. And I go in there. I'm the only person, and it's crazy. You become. I don't know. Everybody knew what time it was. It's not like California where it's on site, and different politics in Colorado, man. So it's just, it is what it is. I get in there. Most of the people in there are from Pueblo, like most of the Serenos and all them. And they knew me for not checking in. They knew me for not being a bitch. And so they kind of gave me that respect, that too. They're like, hey man, you're the only person here, just keep it cool and don't start disrespecting nobody. And that's the end of the talk. They came to the cell and were like, oh, where are you from? I don't know. I told you guys about it on Sandman's thing. So years go on. My points drop. And I'll get into how my points got so high anyways after that. Okay, I might as well tell you now. While I was in Pueblo County Jail, there was this guy. I didn't even know his name when I first got to Pueblo, Colorado. Him and his homies were at my house. They start getting like deep and start acting stupid and disrespectful. So I kick him out, and then a fight breaks out. And then they start. One dude, the dude that was in county jail, he started shooting at me. Bam, 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 and a horrible shot because. I was in the alley, or not in the alley, in the hallway, and he's shooting. He had to close his eyes, and he's all, bah, 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 bah. I was like, man, this motherfucker, and he started shooting my house as they were leaving. But I remember his face. And I was like, okay. I was like, when I see, I didn't call the cops, didn't call the landlord. Patched up the cops, they didn't even come. I mean, it's such a crazy area. They didn't even come. Nobody was like, oh, okay, well, so as I go into county jail and I'm fighting this case or whatever, uh, there's head count, and I'm laying down. It's like the afternoon. I'm laying down, and like get up. I get up and I stand up and I'm out the unit and just tired, just groggy. And I feel somebody looking at me, and I look over and I see him. I'm just like, this motherfucker right here. I was like, all right. So he's the one that was trying to kill me. And, I didn't call the cops and press charges on him or nothing. When you're out here doing the thing, is that what you're first. So when I see him, I'm like, okay, as soon as they walk out of the unit, I can just go walk into this room and just fucking nail this dude. Just like the first punch, I opened him up, and he's just sitting there squealing, screaming. I'm laying him all over. He's meeting every single, like, corner in the room. We're just, like, I'm just beating him all over, and You know, just let him have it. He's bloody, he's bleeding all over. And then people are like, okay, that's enough. And boot him a couple times in the face. He's busted out. I fucked him up bad. So I was like, all right, motherfucker. Because it was one of those dry cells. And I was like, all right, motherfucker. So go in the shower, go clean yourself up. And he's staggering away. And he starts banging on the door right away. And I didn't even realize how fast this beatdown was because that guard was still walking towards. It felt like forever. Like when you're in a fight, you know how it is. Felt like forever, but my adrenaline's going because this dude was the one trying to kill me. So he goes banging on the door, and the guard was like, "What the fuck? Get the fuck off the door!" And he kept banging and banging. He's like, "What, motherfucker?" And he bangs again, and he comes over and he goes, "What the fuck is it? Holy shit!" Seen him bleeding all over the place. He's busted up real bad, and I'm in the shower and I'm like, hey, taking off these black and white striped outfit, and everybody's like, here's a shirt, and then somebody gave me like their cup of tea that they were saving from lunch, and I'm over here trying to wash myself off with it. I go into the cell or into the shower trying to wash myself up, and this buddy of mine, he left me some medical shoes. It was because you had those weird flip flops in there, and gives me those medical shoes and they're Velcro. So he gives me those, and man, they're like all full of blood. And I put them in the shower, and it was crazy. It was bad. Let's just put it that way. That's enough of that. And he goes out to the unit, and the women are coming on because it was like the fifth floor in Pueblo County. And he goes out there, and the women are coming for wreck, and he's standing in the hallway, and he drops down and starts having a seizure. And then the guard came and told me that, yeah, he's pissed and shit himself, and he's about to die. And I'm just like, whatever, man, you know. And so the guard comes in, he's like, handcuff. He handcuffs me and brings me out, and you're right to remain silent, blah, 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 and he's really upset about it. And he's like, yeah, he passed away, he's dead. I'm like, oh, fuck. And I was like, nah, you're full of shit, dude. And then he's like, yeah, you pissed and shit all over the place. And then I'm just like, whatever, man. At that time, it didn't even faze me. I was like, that motherfucker tried killing me. And I didn't tell them that. I was like, all right. And they put me in the shoe. In Pueblo County, they put me on fourth floor. And people, oh, which one? What happened? And who was it? And I said, I don't even know his name, bro. I said, just somebody who was trying to kill me. It was some Sereno dude. And he was, all right. And I caught him slipping and gave him the business, and like, oh, okay. And then I didn't even know his name until he pressed charges on me. His name was Chris Senna out of Pueblo, Colorado. And it was nuts. Like, so I get to Buena Vista, and I'm in the chow hall. And I'm a fat boy now, and that's how I was on the streets. And so, but I was in prison for like good 4 or 5 years already, and I'm buffed up, I'm lost weight, don't even look the same. uh my hair was a little bit longer. Yeah, I think, yeah, my hair was a little bit longer. It's growing it out. And then I'm walking through, and I see him sitting with the Sereno dudes, and being this one dude are on good terms. And yeah, I go up and tell him, say, hey man, what's your name, bro? And then it's like, you from Pueblo? And he was like kind of ignoring me, and he turned around, he's like, what? Yeah, what's up, Bessie? And I was like, hey man, is your name Chris? And then he's like, yeah, why? So you don't remember me, huh, motherfucker? He was like, then all them dudes are like, oh shit, what's going on over here? And I called a shot call over. I was like, hey, look, I know I ain't got no paperwork, but I need you to get my back. I said, tell your homies to hold down this. I'm going to go over there. I'm going to fucking smash them out. Because if I just went over there on a kamikaze mission, I probably would have got done in. I mean, these dudes are deep. They had like 8 tables to themselves on one side and a bunch of other on the other side. And so he calls, and he goes over there and sits down with dude. He was like, hey, homeboy over there says you're no good or whatever. I don't know what's going on. So I see him talking, and then he nods for me to go ahead and come over. And I get out and I go over to where they're at, and then he's like telling everybody like, "Hey man, hey homeboy's gonna come over here and get this dude." And he was just, and then he seen me coming over, and homeboy gets up and walks behind where they're serving trays, and the guard was like, "Hey, you're out of bounds. Get out of here. Get out of here." He's like, go back to where you're sitting. And he's like, "No, I'm not going back out there." He's like, "Get out of here. You're gonna get cuffed up and go to the hole." And he's like, "Take me to the fucking hole." I can hear him. So I just turn around and go back, and I can see it, and he's getting cuffed up. And then they take him out, and all these people are tripping, like, "Damn, dude, you really scared the shit out of that dude." And it was, and like I said, I didn't even know his name until you press charges on me. And so everyone tripped out on it, and that's why my points were so high. And I think it's after 7 years your points drop. So I get like to my 7 year mark and be like, "All right, I want my points to drop. I want to go somewhere else." And then the points drop, and they're like, "Oh, okay." It's like, I want to put in for a transfer. So I'm no longer level 4 points. And I'll talk about where I go after that. But yeah, it was crazy, man. So as time goes on, it gets a little hectic. But it is what it is. That's just a little story of how I went from Kit Carson to Buena Vista, and I see Sevlok. He's on here on YouTube too, and I see. I don't know. I didn't see Gangish. If I did, I don't recognize him. But he didn't. We're all in the same category, same boat in the prison yard. Well, he was a Crip, and Gangish is who he is, and so. But I recognize him. When I seen him on YouTube, I was like, "I fucking know you, dude." I was like, my homeboy Walking Eagle, and he's like, "Yeah, yeah, that's the homie." I'm like, "Dude, that's cool." You know what I mean? It's a small YouTube world too. So to see Gangish out and him doing his thing, and to see Sevlok out, and to see just all these people out of prison. And there's a lot of people I did prison with that are out now, and they just finished doing a grip of time. But it seems like everyone that's out has learned their lesson. Like there's a couple of them have their tattoo shops. There's mechanic shops. Everyone has their own business. You know, like I said before, I still feel it whenever I talk about it. I don't even like talking about hustling because it's just a horrible way of making money, and it's not. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. So you're not going to hear any more stories about hustling and all this. Well, maybe, because there has to be stories that I'm going to tell on here too about it. But yeah, I get to like I said on Sandman's interview. I get there. I'm nervous. I'm scared. I'm not going to lie. I mean, it's only me. I get there. There's like 300 people in the unit, and most of them are paisas. Woods and Serenos. They could have got me anytime. I'm not going to sit here and act like I bullied them or anything like that, but they didn't bully me either. So like I said, just different politics in Colorado. The Colorado system, you still sit there, have your own tables. This is back in 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008. And after a while, you stop counting like days or even weeks. You're like, "Oh, a month went by. Man, that month went by quick." You just try to keep occupied. You read, you eat, your hustle. And my hustle was drawing envelopes for loved ones and family. And that wasn't the best, but I made $1.50, $2 on an envelope, $3 on a card. And when you got 300 people and you got like 30 of them constantly buying stuff from you, it helps out, because then I was able to be like, "Hey, look here, I'll trade you some stamps. You buy me some workout proteins. You buy me, I trade stuff. Be like, okay, because $1.50 is like, at that time they were like 20 cents a soup. I'm like, man, just give me, what is that, $1. Just get me 7 soups for this envelope. Oh, okay, here you go. And I trade it for coffee. Be like, man, hook it up for some coffee, you know. And there was always, I think it was every Wednesday we got hamburgers and fries. And to me, I was working out all the time. I was just like, um, it was, it was just, prison's prison. I don't care where you go, as long as you carry yourself in a respectful manner and respect others. And because there's a lot of trouble in there if you want to get into it, man. There's a lot of hustle. There's a lot of, just people just don't stop being criminals because they're in there. And that's how it was for me too. Like, you're not, it's just little stupid crimes, but, just certain stuff, certain crowds and certain crews. I'm just not going to name drop them, because, I'm pretty sure everybody knows what crew I'm talking about, or, it's, it's a weird place, man. I'll get into more, like, there's some more stories I'll get into too. I ain't gonna lie. Um, but yeah, that's how I went from Kit Carson to Buena Vista and seeing Pachicha. I'm trying to remember his name. They did a robbery homicide over at in the alley of Pizza Hut. It's all public information. I'm not saying anything stupid, but yeah, Smiley was a weird one, man. He was from out there in California, and that's the homeboy. Was the homeboy. He got a life sentence and he knew it, and he started messing with dudes in there. So I stopped associating myself with him in there because, you know, everybody's. This is back in like the 2000s and stuff, early 2000s, and prison politics is different than the YouTube acceptance or community acceptance. So I don't think that I was like a phobe or anything like that. It's just that you can't associate with that because birds of a feather flock together in there. And who wants to have that title of like, oh, look, somebody could run up in them? You know what I mean? Or it's prison politics is totally different. So you got to follow their rules, and if you want to do and the one thing about prison has taught me, this traits I still carry, is that I size people up. I watch a room, I watch people, even like right now, I watch people that are driving by and just see who's there. Like right now, I see an old lady. Is she a threat? No. So a couple other cars. I watch people who come up to the food trailer. Body language. I still read body language. I still don't like having my back turned to nobody. I don't like fast movements. It's different, man. Like you get a lot of PTSD from it. Whoever says they don't, lying, man. You can't just say, oh, it's institutionalized. No, this is a trait that you're always going to carry. Like no matter how much you try to get rid of it, you're always going to have to carry yourself in that fashion. And I still do. And I think somebody's coming up for some food. So I'm going to go ahead and tap out early on this one. You guys have a great one and have a great night.